Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on my very first podcast. You probably have gotten here through my TikTok page, hummus with 1M_. I really appreciate you guys being here. So in today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I've learned this year in 2020. It's been a pretty harsh year, I guess, for a lot of people. Caused a lot of us to sit at home, isolate, and be alone. Maybe you guys are struggling a lot with mental health. You might have had to face a lot of things about yourselves. And I think it's been a great opportunity to dig deep and reflect about ourselves and our environment and the things we choose to do. So I'm going to share what I have learned this past year in 2020. Hopefully you guys can also let me know the things that you guys have learned, so we can help one another grow. In this podcast, I really want all of us to focus on growth, learning, positivity, love, and acceptance. Okay? So I want to start off by talking a little bit about why I'm choosing to do this podcast and kind of why I decided to do TikTok, since this is my first podcast. And I initially started TikTok because I felt alone. I didn't really feel like I could go to anyone to talk about what was going on. I feel like I could have, but I just didn't feel as comfortable, because I always felt like I was kind of alone in my thoughts and that people might not understand, or even I knew the type of advice I needed and I already knew what I had to do, and I guess the only thing I needed was an outlet. So I started posting random videos for myself, and I was not expecting anything to go viral. So that was really unexpected. And it was nice. It was helpful. When I was sad, I would sing and I would play the ukulele, and if there was a thought, I would post that. If there was something funny, I would post that. It's been an outlet, and it's pretty nice. And hopefully that encourages anyone out there who wants to do that for themselves, that you should do that. Maybe this is the time, and this is the sign. Because you don't have to make it public. You can make it private, or just allow your friends to see that. One thing I really value is just staying authentic and being yourself. Okay, so one of the very first things I have here is something I've truly learned, is that we can manifest anything into our lives. If you want anything in your life, it always starts with the mindset. What are you telling yourself, and how are you thinking about it? So, for example, my goal was to feel more beautiful about myself, and my self-worth. And it's interesting how the mind works. Every day I would wake up and I decided that I would tell myself I am beautiful, or that I am worthy. And the way your brain works is that it can't distinguish the difference between the truth and something you repeat to itself over and over again. When I learned this in a book that I was reading, I decided to implement it into my life, because at the end of the day, we choose our reality. You can choose if you want to wake up and feel not so good about yourself, or if you want to feel good about yourself. And it takes effort. And some days you'll wake up and like, I would look at myself in the mirror and I wouldn't feel so beautiful. I wouldn't feel that way, but I chose to release that negative thought and replace it with a positive thought. And I would tell myself, oh, I am so beautiful. I am so worthy. I am abundant. And I am loved, and I am love. And over time, you will feel a shift in perspective. So if you want to manifest more love into your life, I want you guys to try to wake up every single day and start to show that to yourself. And you're going to tell yourself, I love myself. I am love. There is love coming to me from everywhere. And love is abundant. And then watch over time how that can transform into your reality, into your lives. So really, whatever you put your mind to, that's where energy will flow to, and that is what will become your reality. Okay, this I really love, and I'm so grateful for this one. And it's, in every struggle, there's a lesson. And if we don't learn, the same thing will continue to happen until we learn our lesson. For example, let's talk about toxic, unhealthy relationships. So if you keep wondering, why am I attracting like toxic people, or why am I constantly in unhealthy relationships? It's because there's something that you're not learning about yourself, or about the relationships you choose to be in. And when we don't learn that, these situations continue to come up and pop up into our lives until we learn that lesson. Maybe you're somebody and you just find yourself being in a relationship where a guy doesn't treat you so well. What is the lesson in that? I would want to look inwards, and I would ask myself, do I value myself? Do I find myself worthy? Am I setting healthy boundaries? When we do these things, we don't have to worry about the type of people we attract into our lives. Just as when we start looking inwards and we tell ourselves, okay, I'm going to respect myself, and these are my boundaries. And when you put that in place, people will not walk all over you. So remember, when there's something that's challenging you in life or bringing you pain constantly over and over again, and you find yourself stuck in this loop no matter what you do, ask yourself, what is the lesson that I'm missing here? Okay, another one I really love is we don't know whether something is good or bad in life. We should not judge it and just see it as it is. What I find I used to do is I would attach a negative or a positive to anything that would happen in my life. So for example, I didn't get into the school I wanted, therefore it's negative. So there, you can shift your perspective, and instead of saying, oh my God, I didn't get into this school, like this is horrible, you never know what would happen. And in my case, it's I was not meant to do that. I found what I truly want, and it's not going to be in that school, and it's going to be in another school. So when we understand that life happens for us and not to us, it is beautiful. You will let all of these things flow. If you didn't get the job you wanted, don't worry. It's not a bad thing. Maybe something beautiful is waiting for you. Something that's meant for you is waiting for you. The job that you are meant to be at. Or if a relationship doesn't work for you, people tend to find that really negative. They feel like it's a bad thing, but really, you never know what's waiting for you. You never know if there's something more beautiful out there. Imagine somebody decides to walk away from your life. They're choosing not to choose you. And there's somebody out there waiting to choose you every single day. And when we hold on to things that are not meant for us and things that have ended and it's time to move on, we are literally blocking ourselves from things that are meant for us, that something beautiful that's waiting for us. So try your best not to attach a negative emotion to certain things that happen in your life, because you never know. You never know. Just trust that life is happening for you and not to you. Okay, and this I think is something a lot of people need to hear. Emotions, they come and go. It's information, okay? I found that the videos that I was posting on TikTok, a lot of people seem to not like that I am vulnerable with my emotions, and I don't agree with that. Emotions work in a way where it's temporary. You're never going to permanently feel sad or constantly feel happy. Emotions they come in waves, okay? These the feeling of heartbreak, sadness, even people with depression can understand that some days it's hard. It's really hard, and other days they can feel normal again. They can feel regular. They can be themselves. And I find that the issue is we tend to ignore these emotions, and it's almost like we're neglecting this information that our mind is trying to tell us. And when we do that, we are storing these emotions, and we're creating these emotional blockages, and kind of dulling our energy, where we're neglecting ourselves to flow. So if anybody's struggling with, well, it may be loss or heartbreak or sadness, this is just information for yourself. Allow yourself to feel it. If you feel lonely, I know a lot of people on my TikTok page, they came across my page because of that one video where I was talking about feeling lonely and alone. This is an emotion. Don't hold yourself to it. Don't define yourself by it. Just let it flow, okay? Let yourself feel what you're feeling. Tell yourself it's okay. It's okay that I'm feeling this sense of loneliness. You have to let it flow through you so it doesn't get stuck in you. And I see a lot of people constantly feeling lonely, constantly feeling unhappy, just sad, and they're suffering. And they're just either holding on to those emotions, or those emotions become stuck. They become stuck inside their bodies. So that's what helps me. When I felt alone, I actually let myself feel that emotion of loneliness. I let myself feel sad. I let myself feel heartbreak. I let myself feel happy. I let myself feel joy, feel peace. You guys, we need to stop demonizing emotions. They're just information for us to learn and understand what's going on in our lives. Okay, this is another one I learned from my basketball coach in high school, and it has stuck by me since then, since the day I heard it. And it's, you either get better or worse, you don't stay the same. So I remember, I think it was between tournaments, and I didn't understand why I just wasn't improving as fast as I wanted to. And she pulled me aside, and she told me, she's like, oh yeah, I think it was after like spring break or something. She's like, you cannot expect yourself to stay the same. You have to be trying, and if you're not trying, don't expect yourself to stay the same. And this doesn't just go for sports or anything like that. Like, even if we talk about, working out, for example, you're hitting a plate 25 deadlift, right? And then all of a sudden COVID hits, and you're sitting in your room, and then when you get back to the gym, there's so many people feeling frustrated because they can't do that same weight again. But that's okay. You just got to remember, it was COVID. We're at home. You can't expect yourself to still be the same. And I really like this quote because I feel like it reflects, I can use it for every aspect of my life, especially when it comes to emotions and controlling it. I remember reading in a book, anger is a myth where people think if they don't express anger, that they will like become even more vicious or angry, and it'll build up inside them, and they feel like, oh, they're gonna explode. No, when we are able to control our emotions, we actually become better. We become stronger at controlling the way we feel, and we don't project, and we're not reactive. And so therefore, when we practice controlling, finding a healthy outlet, for example, with anger, we're able to contain it, and we're able to actually use it to our advantage and be more proactive about it. Now think about it. If I keep letting myself slip up and lash out all the time, I'm not going to get any better at being able to control my emotions. It's only going to get easier and easier for me to just lash out, be reactive. But if I continue to make effort and control my emotions and work on it, and be more proactive, I will progressively get stronger, and I'll get better at controlling these emotions. Use this in any aspect of your life, whether you're trying to read books, whether you're trying to use less social media. It could be anything. The more you do it, the better you'll get. The less you do it, the worse you'll get. You are not going to stay the same, and this especially goes to working on ourselves. If you just drop everything you're not going to stay the same. Okay, you need to make a constant effort to work on yourself and to develop yourself and become the best version of yourself. Okay, we're either going up or we're going down. We're not staying the same. Okay, so this one I struggled with, and I almost like let myself suffer because of this. But the thing is, you can choose to suffer. Okay, that is in your hand. So this one, it was hard for me because I didn't want it to be true. And it's nothing is permanent or guaranteed. Only the unknown is. And I think part of this is because I didn't feel comfortable in the unknown. I always wanted to know what's going on, and I guess it gave me a sense of control, and a sense of power of what's going on. When it came to this, I guess it was kind of like looking at my parents and seeing how that relationship didn't work, or how friendships end, relationships end, even if you're in a great relationship. And I'm sorry not to make it sad here, but at the end of the day, nothing is guaranteed. Anything can happen, and there's always going to be this sense of unknown, and that just felt very uncomfortable to me because I just didn't like that. And I think it's part of feeling attached or being attached to something, and you want that and you cling onto it, thinking that's going to be forever. But honestly, it's not going to be forever, and things happen. People pass away. People decide, wake up one day and decide to feel something else, or they don't want to be in that relationship or friendship and whatnot. But this is part of life, and that's something I was forced to accept, and it was very hard. But when you find comfort in this, when you turn towards this and you actually let this be and you let it happen, you just stop resisting to it, the pain ends. Because when you are resisting to certain things they will persist. That pain will persist. That emotional attachment that you've created will persist. So let go of the fear and allow it to be. Allow the unknown to guide you. Trust and have hope, have faith that everything will be okay. And part of telling myself that life happens for me, that just helped me so much. It made me have hope and faith and trust that everything's gonna work out just fine. Okay? Everything's gonna work out just fine. Finally, I want to talk about this one. And I don't know, I found so much beauty in it. And it's that pain pushes you to enlightenment. It pushes you to become more aware and conscious. So when I was struggling a lot and I just felt like everything was collapsing around me and on top of me, it forced me to look inwards and to look at what can I do, because I have control of absolutely nothing. So what can I control? And you know what? It's me. It's how I perceive it. It's what I decide to do about it. It's like the outlook I have. And that's the only control we really have when nothing else is in our hands, is in our power. This pushes us to become more aware, more conscious, and more aware of what's going on around us and how we think, how our mind works, what our thought patterns are, the things we say to ourselves, the things we are unconsciously manifesting into our lives. The pain forced me to look at what's going on, to wake up, to start learning, to start growing, to ask myself questions, to understand myself, to get to know myself. And that is what started my growth. And I've noticed every time I struggle, and I don't know about you guys, but every time something like tough happens in my life, it always forces me to grow. And I love that. With that being said, now it's like every time something tough happens in my life, whether that be regarding school, finance, relationships, I see it as an opportunity to grow, to become stronger, to become a trooper, because I know all of you guys have it within you, okay? So use this pain, use this struggle to your advantage. use it to your advantage, because I know you guys have got this. I know you will grow from it. And it's all if you choose to see it that way. It's all if you decide to take that step towards growing and to use this to your advantage. That was my very first podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for staying till the end if you got till here. And if you can, take a screenshot of this podcast, post it, share it, or you can share a part of the podcast or something that I said that truly resonated with you, that you loved, to help anybody else that needs to hear any of these, okay? So I really appreciate you guys joining me. Let me know if there's anything else going on in your guys' life where I can sit here and talk about it and share my perspective on it and any advice that I can hopefully give to you guys. Okay? Sending lots of love. Thank you for tuning in and taking the time to listen to this podcast. You guys are all troopers.